Hello and welcome to Conversations here on NTA Network. It's a program where we talk about anything under the sun. We have some really old faces in the house. I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves and we'll get to the topic of the day.
Kevin Fineface.
Ricky Vasalibelu.
And Obong Robin, and it's good to be back on NTA.
It's good to see all of you.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
I know,
right?
It's really good.
I haven't changed.
Yeah.
So I haven't changed.
Today in the Conversations room, we're going to be talking about work productivity, the work environment. You know what it's like in the Niger setting. Sometimes your work environment isn't what it should be. Yeah. We have some comfortable and not so comfortable situations. So we're going to be talking about that. The physical aspect, emotional, spiritual. There's some things that the general populace feel don't belong in the workplace.
Yeah.
But we do that, buying and selling. I know that there are some offices that buying and selling is the norm.
Table Shakers Association.
I have some stories from my NYSC days.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about that much later on. What we're going to be talking about today. Work environment, work productivity in the Conversations room. Stay with us.
Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
But who is the government and who are the people?
That's $1 million question.
Interestingly, this type of rulership comes with a lot of requests, which most times are made available. But the question is, what do we do with it?
This is the opulent National Stadium here in Abuja. It has played host to a lot of games and sports, including the Koja 2009. Take a look at its state, filth. People drink and eat and litter the waste everywhere. Was this dumped by the government or the people?
Meanwhile, there are waste bins everywhere.
This is a newly completed road along the airport road, Lugbe Federal Housing Authority to be precise. This road was commissioned barely 6 months ago. Not bad as you can see. But take a look at this drainage. These gutters were designed to be about 5 feet deep for only water. But today it's filled with human refuse waiting to decay. And it is the fast dilapidation of the road. Is this the government's fault? Or is the government responsible as well for sweeping the roads poorly and then dumping the waste into the gutters?
The government that built this road, are they also responsible for turning it into a parking lot, such as this in FCDA, reducing 4-lane road into 2, and inhibiting traffic?
What about the street lights, which is constantly knocked down? Take a look at our office facilities. We use and care for them as though they are indestructible, but unfortunately, they are.
Nigerians really lack respect for public property, yet we constantly blame the government.
Let me ask again, who is the government and who are the people?
Think twice.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take its pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh, you know.
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
Yes. If she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, you know, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me. Remove that picture. there was a day I got tired of all that and I said,
I don't think in gender boxes at all. I just get on with it.
A man that would dare to ask the wife, who do you think you are? That is a real man.
In fact, our husbands are our firstborns. The husband needs more attention than even the children.
It's not only about work, it's not only about family. They need to take the time to look after themselves, and we don't. We don't do that.
They took my money. I paid every fees. I never asked to be hoisted as a governor. I wanted to be allowed to go out there and contest for the position of governorship candidate first.
There's nothing greater than looking back and seeing that while you were aspiring, you were able to inspire others.
Empower to women. Yes, we need to have more women, more multitaskers around Nigeria to get Nigeria working.
Definitely.
Welcome back. It's Conversations here on the NTA. We're talking about work environment, work productivity. Now, it means different things to different people. And we'll start with Enobong. Tell me what comes to your mind when you hear this.
For me, workplace and productivity, I feel the emotional aspects. The fact is, I am in an organization where I have seen the best of infrastructure, the best of equipment, the best of technology. Everything is properly put in place, but I have a problem with the emotional aspect of it. It's an expat organization, so I have a problem with the Nigerian governing body that protects the local, which is the Nigerians, and the expats, which is like the people we bring in to work for us. It's been a bit hostile for me, and I mean, maybe during the course of the production, the program, I would throw a bit of light into my experiences and, experience of some of my colleagues. But I'm just going to give you a little bit of it. Yesterday in the office, my colleague came to me, she's crying. And I'm like, Madam, what is going on? And she's like, oh, I've just been accused of stealing the company funds, 6,000 naira to buy food. And I'm like, what? She's like, this money, this is the receipt, this is the change I gave to the finance, this is the receipt they gave to me, and this is the receipt from, the food vendor, and it's everything balances. But how do you accuse me of stealing? This is somebody who has worked with this lady for 2 years plus, and you don't even have that kind of trust. And she was really mad, she was crying, and she filed the complaint form to the HR, but I'm like, this shouldn't even be happening. This is 6,000 naira. Yes, it's company funds, but if you work with someone, there should be an iota of trust. Trust me to a level that 6,000 naira, I mean, you pay me, so I shouldn't steal 6,000 naira. And then when they were having a conversation, the lady said, that she's sorry, that she did not accuse her of stealing, but this is what you implied. So yes, I have seen emotional, imbalance. I have seen workplace discrimination. I have seen the height of it. So I think I'm going to be staying on the part of emotional, blackmail, emotional torture, workplace discrimination, part of productivity. Yeah. Okay. So.
Well, for me, work productivity, work environment, they come hand in hand. Yeah. Because if you're not comfortable where you are, you can't give out the best of you. So let's say, for example, you wake up in the morning and you're not looking forward to going to work because maybe you have issues with the people you're working with. Maybe you want to put in your best, your 100%, but the things required to make you perform at your best, it's not readily available. Let's talk about maybe any parastatal. you have work to do, you need certain equipment, you need, let me give an example, like a hospital, to be specific. You have patients to see, and then you want to see them, you want to make their life better. But the equipment needed to do that are not readily available. What do? You become demoralized. Your spirit goes down low, because these are the patients, they need your care. They need you to be there for them, but you cannot, because the certain equipments are not there, or the work environment itself is not helping matters. You could leave work today and everything is fine, and you come tomorrow, this has a problem, this has a problem. You write to the management or you write to the people in charge, provide this. It takes a year, 2 years. They keep telling you the budget is in place. This is not, we don't have money to do this and that. And who suffers at the end? The patient suffers.
The patients, yes.
The society suffers. That's what I'm saying. So, and sometimes it's not even, you don't blame the government, because they make these things available. But those that are in charge of it do not take care of it. Maintenance. The maintenance level is very low, because it is not my property, it's government property. I don't be bothered. You come and you pass and you see a socket switched on, you go home and you leave it on. And when you come tomorrow, it gets burnt or something. What do you do about it? You don't care, because it's not yours. Yeah. So I think we have to inculcate the attitude of taking care of our work environment as our home. Because most of your day, most of the hours of your day are spent in the office. Yeah. And these things affect you, affect your productivity, affects everything you do. Yeah. And you're being paid for it. Yeah. And you have your conscience to judge you. Yeah. So I think we need to put more effort in taking care of our own work environment. Try to see, okay, this person is not doing the right thing. When you're going home, make sure that all the appliances, the switches are switched off. You don't care because you don't pay NEPA bills. It's government property. Yeah. I think it's a very, very bad attitude that is very, very common in all organizations.
Yeah. Mr. Kevin, did you want to throw something in?
Well, when you talk about work environment and productivity, it's something that works pari passu, because the common trend you find in Nigeria is that most work environment does not give you the room for productivity. If you are in security establishment, for instance, if you go to the barracks, you see that where these people live, or a police officer is transferred to a location that's a new place, he has to sleep at the station. How do you expect to have maximum productivity? That even affects his psychology in terms of operational standard, because he goes out there, he goes out with the stress of not having a good sleep. And he pours that out to the public. If you go to most government establishments, most times we see is that government make provision for offices without technical cognizance the health and safety risk of that environment. So you go to an office, I give an instance, I wanted to say this here. Some of the public offices you get to, there's not even good toilet facilities out there. The stench alone can't even allow you to work effectively. In some places you go, you live with headache. So for me, work environment and productivity should work pari passu, in the sense that it must be conducive, and at the same time you need to also provide basic tools for work. You have people you have employed to work as assistants, but they don't have system to work with.
Yes.
How do you expect them to be productive? You will do longhand writing most times. In the 21st century, longhand writing should not be encouraged any longer. We should all be doing, with our tablets and phones and all of that. Why do we have to wait until you get to the office before meetings are concluded? We can actually set up a group and do all of that. So workplace environment and productivity needs to go hand in hand. And in Nigeria, we have another problem, which is that buildings are constructed, offices are set up without facility management put in place.
Yeah, that's true.
So what happens is that there's a culture that is inadvertently been, groomed to these people. They go back home, do the same thing. You have big structures. If you go to the city of Abuja, for instance, you see big structures, government buildings. They are nothing. The facade looks like it's good, but right inside of the offices, it's not a place to be. You wonder what. Are there human beings that work there? Now, they can't do much, because some persons also, sometimes they also make some provision for, some budgeted provisions for maintenance. Yeah. But this money is divided.
Yeah.
And pocketed in, the big guys in the office take this money and they maintain it. They get one unprofessional just to come and do some cleanings. And that's the end of
because
it.
paying experts is going to cost more.
Because more money, which is already been provided for.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a systemic problem that has to do with a cultural reorientation, the individuals themselves. Now, some of us who travel abroad, the first day I went to the US, it was difficult for me to spit out from my window because of how clean the place was.
Yeah.
To what?
Difficult to speak.
Why would you want to?
No, it's common, yeah. Forgive me, you just get power, you don't do it, right? But you can't do that because of the environment. No, see, I've seen that happen several times. I've seen that happen several times.
I know that.
But because of how the environment is kept clean, you have to conform. So if governments tend to put offices in the right manner, people will conform. If you have the right toilet facilities put in place, people will conform. People do short put in offices in Abuja here.
But sometimes the workplace is everything is put in place. No, I don't want to talk. There are cleaners that are assigned to clean this place.
Yes.
And I think sometimes it's our attitude, we that work in the place.
Why is it so?
Because the nonchalant attitude, because this is not my house. I don't have to take care of it.
Over the years, people get used to this culture.
Mm-hmm.
When those at the top fail to do the right thing, those that are following will begin to also do their own thing. When there's no supervision, people tend to also misbehave.
That is what
when the importance of a thing is no, is abuse is inevitable.
Yeah.
Government needs to do the right thing and put the right culture. How do we teach? I went to a school in Gwarimpa here. It will blow your mind. In Gwarimpa, that the ceiling is all gone, it's leaking.
A government school?
No place, a government school, no place to sit for the pupils. The secondary school had some. It was
and how do you expect them to learn?
Yes, Gwarimpa, yeah.
How do you expect them to learn in such environment?
And they said that it's the largest estate in Africa.
Yes,
that's
we like to take the big names, but
and
we
it is as recent as not too
long.
I was actually going to talk about
so the maintenance
so we have to gather out some young men and women, and provided the what they call it, the seats for the pupils, and also have to fix the ceiling and get the sheets changed.
So let me just ask you a question. Now that you've provided those items and you come back in a year and it's been vandalized, who do you blame?
Now, I will blame the management. It brings me to this point. There's a culture at home I'm developing with my kids. You must leave a place better than you met it.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you go to the toilet, leave it better than you met it.
Yes, which makes sense.
Yes, it does.
If you finish with your meal, as soon as you want to wash your hands, wash the dish.
Yes.
Now,
Very
when you
impressive.
build this culture,
Yes.
they go out there to live the same way.
Yeah.
We have had it. That's a systemic problem.
Yeah.
Parents need to begin to develop that habit to form this thing in kids, so that when they get older,
Usually, yes.
this entitlement mentality, because somebody is employed to clean the office, doesn't mean that you will just litter the place anyhow.
Exactly. It starts from
Which
the
is
early
a common
age.
thing we find in most of these offices.
Yes,
the cleaners will take care of it.
Yes,
yeah, I understand that, but I would like to come more from the angle of the numbers. Government has provided the toilets and the facilities, but the sheer number of students that have to use the 5 toilets that are available.
Yes.
I mean,
some don't even have.
Is there a
Like this
regulation?
school, they don't even have.
Really?
No, they don't have.
Gwarimpa?
Gwarimpa, they actually wanted, they at first they had this pit.
How old is this school, please?
It's as old as Abuja.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a government school.
Yeah.
They had this pit stuff. The girls don't even have privacy. So it means that if the girls are in the toilet, somebody has to wait to say, don't come closer.
This is Gwarimpa we are talking about.
21st century.
For those who don't know where Gwarimpa is,
is,
tell the world where Gwarimpa is in Abuja.
Gwarimpa has the largest, what they call it, estate in Africa.
In Africa.
That you can find. Is also, from where we are seated, I think it's about 25 kilometer drive from here.
This is town. This is Abuja town.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Gwarimpa
Kubwa
functions on its own. You can live in Gwarimpa and not have to go out for months. It has banks, hospitals,
so in this
everything.
situation, the children really can learn, because once it's raining, it will be leaking. Once the teacher is right in front of the board, starts writing and it starts raining, that means it's the end of the class.
But what about the teachers?
There's another
I feel
aspect,
that sometimes even the teachers feel this. I mean, you have 80 to 100 students and you have to teach all of them. It's difficult. And you know what it's like teaching.
It will be difficult. Now, there's another aspect also which I've also discovered, which is that government recruit people who are not qualified for some of this assignment, or they give them equipment they are not
familiar with.
Familiar with.
Yes.
In this same school, a library was built by a faith-based organization.
Okay.
With e-library and all of that, but they never used it.
Sometimes they end up selling the stuff.
If you go to government offices, I've seen that. Some of these secretariats, you see that they have, there was a period during Obasanjo time, they gave them laptops,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
They give them laptops and all of that.
The teachers?
No,
Students?
civil servants.
Okay, okay.
They give them laptops. You get there, what you see them do is playing Candy Crush. They don't even know how to type
Solitaire.
on it. And solitaire.
Yes, I see.
Then a year after, those things are all gone. But guess what? Every year they budget for those laptops.
And where does it go to?
In the pockets of some persons.
You see what hurts me is that the people playing Candy Crush and Solitaire who were assigned these laptops are not even taking care of these laptops. You won't even you won't do any the basic thing.
You don't even
like
use it for the
cleaning
purpose
it.
given to them.
There was no
Cleaning
need
it,
assessment
even something as
done.
basic
There was no
as
need
cleaning.
assessment done.
Yes.
Before
And
Before
meanwhile,
giving
it
those
will
things.
surprise you to know that the people that really do need those laptops are there wanting to do the job, but it's not
they don't
readily
have laptop.
available. Because I think sometimes, like she said, job discrimination, sometimes when these things are allocated to a particular organization, they choose their favorites. Okay, I have to give this one, I have to give. Sometimes you see one person with 2 items. Meanwhile, the IT department that requires it
Will not
to
have it.
perform at their best will not be given.
Because maybe you're not smiling that much.
Exactly, that
Maybe
is
because
not
of
my
that.
favorite, we're not friends. So the discrimination is there. Our
have
attitude basically is the number one
There's
problem.
that
work
ethno-religious sentiment that comes in when it comes to job relationship. She mentioned about expatriates,
Yeah.
working in an expat environment and being somewhere segregated and all of that. Now that can be reported.
To who?
No, because if you go to industrial court,
Yeah, I
you
know
have-
about industrial court.
How long will it take for you to get a
you also
verdict?
Nigerian content, the Nigerian content agency, the Parasota that is set up, they also fight for it. No white has right. I'm sure it might be Asians or Eastern
It
Europe.
doesn't matter, American.
No, because I mean,
I always got the
you
impression
find
if
such
you
a-
work for
Hispanic,
expatriates,
or
it's always of
Caucasian,
the
or-
best.
or Igbo,
You know,
So
they
you don't tolerate it.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
don't.
tolerate it.
You don't.
I don't tolerate it.
And you need to speak up.
I tell you to your face. Once I know what I'm doing is right, I know my rights, I tell it to your face. You don't dare. The problem we have is that there's that mentality, the average African, we are always intimidated with the skin color. And they come with that impression that because you're white, even if it's
You
one,
feel superior.
if it's one very dirty white person,
Yeah.
excuse my French, they still believe that they over you. No,
Yeah,
they're not
they're
over
better
you.
than
It's the brain that matters.
But not all of them are like that.
Not
I
all
mean,
of them.
Some
I'm
of them,
saying
some of these agencies actually puts into practice the international labor rules and laws. So
they know it.
Who is
but they know that your
enforcing
government
it?
does not
Who
do
is-
much. They know that
who
you don't
is
have agencies that will
enforcing
fight
it?
for these people. And they know that you can't even speak, so they will have to trample on your rights. But
The
you see,
thing
you
is-
must, with today's social media, do a cover.
I'm telling you.
The thing is, right now, they come in to the country, maybe the application looked good, the process looked good, and they come in and they use 1 month to observe the environment, 1 month to observe the government, and they notice that nobody's really protecting
The rights of the Nigerian
blacks,
workers.
They're not
rights.
even sure if they even have
So,
the rights permit to
The
work.
natural,
Need
the
to be
natural
sure. Tell me
them
the
comes
place.
to play. It comes
You
to
want
fore.
to take it up.
I'm serious.
tell me the
If
place.
you want to have,
So that we
you
can
go
check
on
if they
a
have the
case.
right permit to work.
I'm serious.
Because there's a
Can
there's
we
a
send
number
them
of
out of
persons that you must
Nigeria?
allow
Our
to work in
country.
an
No, but there's
environment.
an arm in the immigration service that is dedicated to the
Yeah.
expatriates working.
Do they go around
Yes, they
doing
do.
their job? This thing I'm telling you, I know why I'm asking, because having worked in a certain organization for a number of years, I have never seen any Nigerian immigration come there to say, oh, I need to find out how your local staff are faring.
Okay, well-
I have never heard, there has never been any info. As a matter of fact, take me to these people. I'm serious. I have some
Okay,
things I need
because
to
my
talk
husband
about.
works with expatriates, and I know that on the regular immigration, Ministry of Interior,
doesn't happen in
regulators,
my
they always
organization.
come from time to
doesn't
time to
happen
make
in my
sure
organization.
that is the exact number of
expatriate
expatriates
staff,
working
yeah.
that are there and not more, and other things. And they also check on the welfare of Nigerians working
More
there.
so,
That I know
more
for
so,
a fact.
what they also do is that the expatriate staff can only come in if there's no Nigerian to fill in that space.
Okay.
That expatriate.
Okay.
That profession, if they can't find it, then they get an expatriate staff. But because the Nigerian content law forbids companies to employ
But you know, we have laws,
expatriates.
but sometimes we don't obey the laws.
Yes, I know
so
that.
the thing is there any government organization that enforces this
Nigerian content,
and who ensures it is being followed? Because I know why I'm asking these questions.
Nigerian content stuff. I'll get the name. It's an agency. I think they're in Bayelsa. They're headquartered in Bayelsa, but they have an office in Abuja.
Okay.
Another aspect is
interesting.
Regarding work productivity, communication and relationship with your work colleagues.
How many people do teamwork?
That is a very, very important aspect. It affects you mentally, physically, emotionally, all aspects. Because some people like to feel they are above the law. Some people would want to feel, okay, I am the boss. You have to do it my own way, even if it's not right. Which is not supposed to be like that. You have a problem, yet there should be a listening ear, there should be a communication relationship between the person you're working with, be it above you or under you. Yes, exactly. You don't try to enforce certain laws, or you feel you need to be respected, you command respect for yourself, and you don't even respect the people you're working with. It will never work. You end up frustrating each other's lives. For example, you come to work and then you have an issue. The person you're supposed to talk to, which is something that needs to be handled at that point in time, the person you're supposed to talk to, you go to him, his office is locked. What do? It affects your productivity because there's a certain ladder that you have to stop. You can't take certain conclusions,
yes, of course,
or whatever yourself. You have to hear it from the top. So what do you do in this instance? You fold your hands and you wait. And once the next day certain issues comes up, you won't, if you're like, I don't even think he's around, so there's no need for me to even go further. You stand up, shying away, or moving yourself away,
and then
from
it fades away.
Exactly, from that particular instances, because you don't want to make a fool of yourself, because the person you're supposed to report to is not readily available, or the person will tell you, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, but there should be a way where you have to escalate it. Because there's always this line of communication that is set up in every office.
Yeah, exactly.
And if this person is not available, who's the next person that's supposed to be available? So you have to escalate and copy the individual. If it's supposed to be, depending on the office though.
Escalate?
Yeah, you escalate.
Like jump that ladder. Like,
I get you, but when you say escalate and it's your...
Or you write to someone, your colleague, and say, look, I have this challenge, but I'm finding it because you copy that individual.
Like I said, it could be an emergency. When do you write?
Door policy in the government?
It could backfire, I agree with you, but you see, you don't want to be the one to be blamed for your indiscretion.
The example I gave, I said a sudden decision that you have to make. Do you write and wait for it to keep going and going and going?
What about when you have the opportunity of staff meeting, then you raise this observation that look, at certain times I have this issue of trying to communicate a particular challenge. Should we have an alternative window where this can
Kevin, that's like putting a bullseye on your forehead.
What if you had done that a couple of times and nothing changed?
That's my point. Then
what do you do about that?
Then you become Nika the complainer.
Exactly.
It's simple.
And they feel like you're attacking that person. It becomes a personal problem between you and the person.
It is important you follow procedures that are set out for you and actually have that, in quotes, the complainant's tag.
See, the issue of checks and balance is what we are missing here. There is no checks and balance in the system people are describing. I am sorry, but I'm coming from a different system, all right?
These checks and balance.
I'm not used to these things people are talking about. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
Literally, if I want something done and I go meet the person that is next to me and the person doesn't do it, I'm making that decision. You trust me with your job. You trust me to make the best decision.
Even if it's not your
office,
it's not even part of your job to make the decision.
Even if it's not part of my job, when I come and you're not there, I am making that decision. And I am going to explain myself when you ask me. And it is your job to trust that I made what is best in the interest of the organization. That is where I am coming from. So, sorry guys.
That was a
I'm sure you were given that power to do that. You just didn't decide to do that on your own.
I may not have been given the power. You said it's a smart decision, like an instant decision.
Yes, that you need to make. Yeah.
But if you employ somebody that you don't trust them to make those kind of decisions when you're not there, then why do you employ them?
It's a bit tricky because there can be different scenarios that you don't really have a say because it could backfire, like you said.
That's what I was going to say.
There's a hierarchy, there's a ladder.
You can't jump the gun.
There's a ladder. There's a ladder that you have to.
Speaking of civil service, there are also channels like Servicom, which is what I was going to suggest. In the case where you can't say it at staff meetings or go up to your superior, you can make it anonymous and hope that the Servicom unit leader is not a snitch. Hope that the Servicom person is not a snitch.
Guys, you're fired.
And hope that, they would pass it through the proper channels and make it as anonymous as possible. That could also help.
Most of our African people, they love to be in power. And sometimes they would love to degrade the people under them and feel like I'm the boss. Even if it's just sign this, it will take hours. Go and come. The need, the feel to be, I am in charge.
So I think signature, right? If you're my boss,
you scam.
And you need to not scam. It's official. And you need to sign something. You're not there. Gone.
There's also
that's what you people do.
Yes,
with the amount of fraud going on all over the place, that could never fly.
You could have write yesterday and then we need to sign something. Your signature is there, so we will just stamp it and move on.
Well, that's the private.
It's private though.
It doesn't work in
the
our
work environment. Sometimes the employee handbook handed over to you also matters. In civil service, you're not actually giving that booklet. Your procedures, except when you go for exams and all of that. And the culture in Africa is that. In Africa setting, we operate a type of hierarchical style leadership.
Very much so.
Where people believe that because they're at the top, they are the de facto king or God in that environment.
Yeah.
So you must have to go through this subjugatory style of leadership or relationship, which is very bad.
Ask his
I think it's our culture, being Africans.
No, not necessarily the culture.
Respect is something that is inbuilt.
Not necessarily the culture. The reason why it's so is this: when the white man was there, the white man was highly venerated. He was seen as a type of God.
Yeah.
Now, when he was leaving, those who took over from him decided to act like the white man.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's why tomorrow it's difficult for you to sit at the back seat. It's called Oga seats.
Yes.
If you're not the owner of the vehicle.
Yes.
There's an ingrained thing that we actually develop that passed down to the next generation. So you sit there.
Generations.
This is Oga seat. You won't sit there. You have to sit on this other angle.
Yeah, it's
because
true.
It's a problem.
Yeah, even in the office, when there's a meeting, there's Oga's chair. You don't sit on it.
You don't sit on it because
even if Oga is not around, he won't be around for 1 year.
Let the chair just be there.
Yeah, let the chair be there. It's for Oga.
It's wrong.
Okay, you know what? Let's talk about things that happen within the work environment that aren't actually meant to be happening. Buying and selling, for instance.
We call it financial embarrassment. Yeah.
Buying and selling.
Yeah, it's part of the I think the civil service rules. You're not allowed to buy and sell. You're not allowed to mingle within the. But the buying and selling, that's when I don't know.
Sorry, like what are we talking
I've
about?
never done that, but I see
consumables, anything really.
Believe me,
why are you guys?
Some people bring merchandise.
Everything can be sold in the office.
Yes.
No,
I'm talking about me as your colleague selling something to you. I brought laces. I brought fabric.
Are you talking about colleagues or just general buying and selling in the office?
In the office, generally.
Yeah.
Generally.
It mustn't be your colleague.
Okay, you go to work with your bag and you're like,
plantain.
I have some good stuff,
Stockfish. I'm telling you.
Why?
Everything you can think of is being sold in all the organizations, not even only my office.
Let me give you a story.
I'm telling you.
Let me give you a story. I went for a meeting.
There's no borderline. Everything you can.
I went for a meeting at the Federal Secretariat. The meeting was supposed to start at 9. I was there much earlier, so I went to the canteen. Let me have breakfast and there was a woman greeted me. How you doing? Hope you're fine. I'm fine, ma. Next thing, she just brought out nylons of crayfish in case I want to buy that nice crayfish.
Dry fish.
Yeah, dry fish.
Mention it all.
Honestly, there's some good deals.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. You get the good deals in the office. And sometimes they don't even have cash at hand because they know this is your work.
Yes.
So
they month end.
Yes. And then you try to pay when it's convenient.
I think it's also because the welfare system is actually very poor. So what I also discovered that has happened here is that some people now believe, okay, let's take advantage of this, pool of persons within this environment. Now it's actually wrong, but once it starts happening and the bosses also sell, it means it's allowed by everybody to also sell because bosses also come with their stuff and sell to some kind of persons or give to some of this mid-level staff to
help me go and say yes. That happens a lot.
Yeah, but sometimes they are the ones that buy because they don't have time to go to
they
the
don't
market.
Have to, so they do those things.
Yeah.
Some of them travel a lot. Some of them travel a lot, so they bring this stuff and hand over to preferred staff.
Preferred, yes.
You know, and the preferred staff now
And
have
maybe
the-
they'll give the junior ones 500, but you can sell it for 1,000.
1,000.
So whatever you put on top, it's yours.
It's your own. So you see the business.
And it's tickled.
The junior one will have to struggle to sell. So even
other
when you are
staff-
not interested, they can talk you into buying.
Buying it, and other
Just
staff now
because
sees,
they're
oh,
very good.
if this is benefit, if this person is benefiting, I think I also need to do the same
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
start greeting Oga in a nice
That
manner.
happens. You just walk
And you
into
will sell
women
to-
admiring
and you will
things.
sell to people that you know at the end of the month, come what may, your money will come out.
Yes. Will come out.
Because their salary.
That is why you
and
see
they're going
can't
to
run.
pay.
In civil
Yes,
service,
and you know where they are.
in civil service, you find out that they owe a lot among themselves, and they get into this contributory relationship,
Yes.
like, more like a thrift.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they've not registered as thrift and company or cooperative.
But
So
that
you've-
contributory is very necessary. It helps.
No, it helps, but
It helps.
we
you
can do it in
save.
such a way. We can do it in such a way that there's some form of decorum and respect. People use time for work hours to do their
Yeah,
businesses,
which is true.
which is not good.
It is
Yeah.
not.
You know, it also affects those who don't want to do it. If you can't beat them, you join them in kind of mentality.
Yeah.
So it's not a good thing.
But do you think there should
You
be
know?
like a law or a rule that, well, it's there, but we don't
Government
obey
should
it?
set up. Government should set up shops within the civil service structure.
But then, let me
You
come.
know?
Let me come
Yeah,
in here.
you have your.
Let me come in here. If they
so-called-
set up shops, you have to pay. This person is, she's already familiar with just walking into the office, selling her stuff, making her own money.
Who needs
so
shop
if
space?
the government should make shop spaces now, it's the orgas that will now take the space and give someone else, and that person will be paying rent. That's one. And then the other thing is, once there's a shop space, that person selling without paying anything, she will just use her energy and her sweet mouth to talk people into buying and everything. She will now have to pay for the space. So at the end of the day, she's struggling. Nobody is going to patronize
No, but see,
those
this
places.
thing can-
Yes,
if-
that's true.
Like what you guys have said, this is what I'm thinking of. If you have like, a parastatal, let's use NTA for example. We have some plot of land. You can actually set up shop spaces that you can give to the employees.
Are you giving them
here
for free?
at a discounted price?
Okay.
All right, that can be taken out of their salary. You prorate it at the end of the year. All right, then you get someone from outside, employ the person to stay there and do your sales. That way, you're giving job opportunity to somebody else who you have to pay, and you're making it a safe environment by making people walk down there during their lunch break or something.
That alone is
That's
it's a
the
more
most-
organized.
that's an
You're
ideal
losing
thing to
man
do.
hours.
It's a more organized.
You're
way.
losing man hours. Honestly, you are. If
No,
I-
do you
I
know
know
that
with
when
the
this
Oga,
contract has
and you'll be
lunchtime,
distracted.
you have your break at
You'll
least
be
twice in a
distracted.
day.
If
what
I
you
should
said-
own a
So are
shop
you talking
space,
about like a trade fair or?
No.
Or you can even organize monthly trade fairs. Like if you sell
In the
fabric, you
office?
sell chain. Every
No,
month,
so you have
the
your
organization will
restaurant,
organize
right?
trade
You
fair.
have the cafeterias and of these
restaurants
offices.
are more decent even.
Yeah.
Now, when you have your restaurant, you can actually have stalls, small shelves that things can be displayed for people to buy when you go to eat. We should stop this habit of selling things in the offices. What that does, it makes people to
glad
buy
it's-
things on impulse.
Yes.
There's a
Impulse
psychological,
buying.
there's a mental problem that comes with that. It makes other families to begin to
And
have
the time you're
quarrels.
supposed to work.
You don't have the time to work effectively, so you lose man hours. And that is because most times government offices are not well timed in terms of productivity. Man hours is lost. You don't even know the man hours is lost. That's
Yes.
why we have more holidays in this country than any other place you can actually think of.
Stop
Apart
it.
from Burma,
Leave the holidays.
apart from Burma that has about 27 Burma, that has about 27 holidays.
Holidays,
you know,
really?
in a year. Nigeria Nigeria has about 16 or 17 holidays in a year.
Stop it.
Oh.
But you know, the
our
same
holiday
person.
for
But
us.
you know, there's this
We like-
thing I've noticed over a while, over a period of time. The private organization and the government organization, they operate on a totally different levels, because the same person would be working in a government organization. You see the nonchalance. You
Yes.
even feel the person is not capable of doing what he's supposed to. Let him get a job at a private organization, and you
You see
see
the
how
different it will
how
be.
dedicated
Because
he
of
is
the
to work.
structure.
The
Time
system
bound.
in the private sector
Yeah.
works.
You're given
No, because
assignment
there's somebody you answer
responsibilities.
to in the private sector, but in the government sector, yes, there's somebody you answer to, but the nonchalance, the fact that, okay, it's a government property,
And do you
it's
think
a
that
government work.
Do you think that affects like mid-level staff emotionally when you feel, I'm not really giving them an opportunity to flourish, or my ideas, I can't put them forward. There's just so much red tape, so much bureaucracy. I don't see myself, yes, I'm growing, I'm being promoted, but I don't see myself blooming. Do you think it affects people emotionally?
Of course it does. Of course. Of course. In terms of advancement in career,
Yes.
in terms of, getting more
Fulfillment of
knowledge,
purpose and all that.
because a lot of things come up in this world and that it's a growing society.
It's evolving.
So you need to enlighten yourself you need to be updating whatever it is that you have in there to a certain level because things keep changing.
Sorry, Rakiba.
Everything
I
keeps
think
evolving. So you have to have a platform where you would, advance yourself career-wise. But if you are denied that opportunity, you've been stuck, like you said, you get promoted, but you're not promoting your own self.
I feel like we have different views. I think individuals, regardless of where you work, government, private, you are personally responsible for your growth. I'm making this statement strongly because like you guys in the public sector, government sector, I don't know what they call it. Government,
public.
Right? Public sector. You can be promoted step 1, step 2, step 3, and the step goes on and on. But looking down the line, you don't even have a master's. You've never, gone for any course development. But you make any salary, you're trying to get married, and you're not interested in yourself. That is on you.
What if you're interested,
There are
but there are no
millions of
opportunities
people,
for you?
But you have to be able to invest your own money on yourself. You
Let me
must
give
not
you
wait
a
for the
certain
government
instance.
You must not wait for the government to do that for
What
you.
if you
Honestly
want to go
speaking,
for masters and you want to go? Yeah, exactly.
approvals.
Study
there
leave
are online courses
without
you can
pay.
take. You don't
Now,
need to
beautiful,
travel.
Now, beautiful. With today's technology, you don't need to travel with your phone. You can be in any university you want to be in across the globe.
But not everybody learns that way. Not everybody
But
learns that
the
way.
thing is that there's a structure in the course of recruitment. The recruitment process in civil service is such that by the time you finish your orientation, you be like those who have been there. You want to go through the slow processes in getting things done. What it means simply is that you want to get the approval so you can get your leave bonus. You can get your study leave bonus. Or else you apply, if you're doing your courses online, it's not being recognized. Once you don't have approval, you finish your certificate, you have your master's, because it wasn't through approval, it will not be accepted.
Exactly.
What are you people doing?
Yeah. And sometimes you'll be given an opportunity to choose between your job
or
your advancement in career. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, I'm in a different country.
You're here. You're in a different.
You're privileged to find yourself in the private sector that is functional.
We can't give you study leave even if you're not going to be paid.
If you come
have to choose
my money, you need to approve my.
If you come into the civil service structure,
sometimes it goes that
you need
way.
at least 4 years to 5 years to even get married in the first place. Now, if you want to go for study leave, you also need at least that
a particular
period.
yes. First 2 years are probation years. You don't ask for anything.
No, you can't ask for anything.
Even when you win a scholarship, you can't go because you're under probation.
You're under probation.
There are certain rules.
Or you lose the job.
Yes.
Because the truth is that it's a funnel system.
Yes.
It's a big funnel system with a narrow drip. So there are so many people at the top looking for the same job that you got. So if you're not ready to do it, please.
Does ethnicity work in this? Like if you are Yoruba, you favor the Yoruba person?
No. Well, you also know we have the Federal Character Commission. So for every agency, you have to.
Is it functional, the Federal Character?
Yes, it is. Very well. It is.
To some
Kevin,
degree.
it is.
It is.
Because even recently, the Federal Character Commission also actually complained of recruitment that have been done in some ministries. Tilted towards a section.
Yeah, I believe you.
We find this in the Federal Character Commission, affirmative actions, those are things that actually affect our national development. We're supposed to focus on meritocracy, where people who are qualified for jobs are employed. Then you see the high level of productivity. That's why the difference between.
But you know,
public
that
and
was
private
what
comes in.
that was their excuse. They said they don't want to employ. Okay, a test was done. You did an aptitude test and everything, and the people with the highest score came from a particular region. The people that had the lowest score came from a particular region. So do you employ those people that are not capable because you're doing federal character?
That's what happens.
Exactly. So in this situation, it's a
issues.
bit, they have to find a way, because at the end of the day, if you're going to follow the Federal Character Commission rules, you end up employing people that are not even qualified for the job.
I think
so that's also a challenge.
It is.
I think also what the state government.
Have you heard of the Federal Character Commission?
No, she doesn't know anything about that.
What I think can also happen is that since we're in a federation, the federation needs to be deliberate about the federal character. So getting people to be prepared for certain skill sets so that they can all apply and get it. When we begin to allow affirmative action, like we find mostly in the North, what it does, when you lower the bar, you make people not to be more productive. You make them to feel entitled. Now, when they are employed as entitled, they get in there, they don't want to follow the procedures that are laid out for that job. So what you now see, those who are truly qualified, who have something upstairs, will begin to lower their standard to gain favors from those they call their bosses. So the productivity level begins to decay.
They do not even want to show what they're capable of, so that they won't feel like they're, they're going ahead of their bosses.
You don't want to seem smarter than your boss.
Yes, exactly.
So
you could be in a room and your boss is,
and that's why I said it does affect. It affects you emotionally.
You could be in a room having a meeting with your boss and everything he's saying is wrong. But you can't counteract. You can't even do that. You understand? And even if it's something that has to be finalized that way, you have to keep your mouth shut because you can't go above your boss.
And if it backfires, you can't do an I told you so.
You could lose your job, or you could live a life of hell throughout your service here. Even when he leaves, he passes it on to someone else.
Regardless of what the popular opinion here is, I would rather lose my job than be in an environment where I am not appreciated.
Congratulations to you.
There first. I am the 1% of
sometimes you have to be in it to make certain decisions.
The truth is that congratulations to you. Exactly. You came out from school, you had everything worked out for you, you have this good job, you're working.
Exactly.
You haven't been through the funnel process.
No.
If you've been through the funnel process where you have 1 million people vying for 1,000 jobs, then you will now know what it is. Survival of the fittest.
1 million fighting for 100 jobs. Not even 1,000.
Beautiful.
It could be as low
so
as
you now
that.
see that survival of the fittest. People have to do any and everything possible to get the job. Now when they get there, it becomes a yes sir principle, even when it's not good. And that's why you see that some of these offices, sexual assault is prevalent.
I dare
either bosses, female bosses or male bosses always trying to want to take advantage of their subordinates. Because if you don't...
I thought only male bosses do that.
No,
it's both ways.
No.
Rakiba.
No, it's on both ways. It's just that men can't report their cases because it's often said, in fact, a lady said to me, you should be happy that your boss wants to have something to do with you. They never consider my psychological say you should be happy that are you not a man, you should be happy. So you see those things happen.
Yeah.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take its pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh,
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys, they're not ready to marry.
Yes. If she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I said,